Hello, hello. How are you? It is a dreary day here in San Diego. A very dreary day, which is fine because it's always so nice, and dreary is kind of enjoyable from time to time. I won't say that too much because I have lived in the Pacific Northwest as well as Western Canada, and actually the middle of Canada, so I know what breezy and breezy, cold, you know what I'm trying to say. I know all the temps, guys. Dreary, but you guys need it, Julie. I heard there's already fires. Goodness gracious. So, I thought I would talk about something kind of funny. Not funny. I don't even know why I said funny. It's really not funny at all. But something that is relevant to kind of what I've been talking about in my stories all week. And I've been getting a lot of questions just about coaching and how I got started in sharing my journey and, doing all the things. And so I thought I would tell you about how I'm fairly certain, and I'm not saying that, let me just preface this by, if you are someone who has multiple children and you work, that is totally understandable and that is a-okay. I, however, daycare was hard. With my second kid, I remember I actually worked where I had a daycare. So a lot happened around Carter. That's what kind of kicked off this whole thing, because I needed to lose weight and I couldn't, and I didn't know, none of the things that I did in the past were working, and I had a brand new baby and a 13-month or a 15-month-old, and I was like, what did I get myself into? And I remember dropping him off at daycare, and my daughter had gone, and he never started until 6 months, and I think around 6.5 months, I went in there and I would nurse him, and he was actually the longest boy that I nursed, and I went in there one day, and I was just, everything was wrong in my eyes, and I literally lost it. I packed up his stuff and I never went back, and I literally never went back, and I was like, crap, what am I going to do? Like, I just pulled my kid out of daycare, kind of was ruffled some feathers, and now I don't have anywhere to put him, but I have a job, so what's going to happen here? Like, what am I going to do? And I'm really sensitive with my boys. I don't know why. I think because I'm a girl, and I know, I'm like, no, we're strong. Like, I got you, girl, and that's my Avery. Don't get me wrong. I still, let her be whatever she needs to be. But I feel like with these boys, I'm like, my heartstrings are literally pulling out of my chest. Similar to my husband, right? Like, the way I am with him is kind of how I am with these little boys that all look like him, and my heart just melts, and I feel bad, and I'm like so sympathetic, and I'm so much easier on them, and it's just, I think, what happens with boys and girls. So, I say all that to say that, when I pulled him out, we ended up having to get someone to come and look after him, and so that I could still keep a job. And I remember thinking to myself, we never actually found out we were pregnant till I ended up starting this health career and sharing my journey. And when it came down to us conversating about having a third kid, it was almost like, well, we know we're not putting him into daycare, so what does that look like? Especially because, can you imagine 3 small children, which we have at some point in the game? I think the most we've ever been spending on daycare with all three in was like $3,200. $3,200. Okay, just saying. So something had to give, right? Like, something had to make sense for us to either I had the job of my favorite job in the whole entire planet, and there was no way I was going to leave it, or I had to go. I had to find something else. But here's the thing: we live in Southern California, and we have a lifestyle that we want to keep, and we it's just because you decide, like, oh, let's just pull you out, like, you can just stop working. It doesn't really work, not when you already have expenses, or you already have car payments, or you already have debt to return, right? Like, you don't just get to decide, like, one day, like, oh, I think I'm just going to stop working and I'll just stay at home with my kids. not when the income you were bringing in prior is still part of what you need as a family to survive. So, coaching came on the right time. I actually quit my job quit-ish my job a month before we found out I was pregnant with Hudson. So it all ended up working out in, great timing, because I was able to, never having to put, Brooke or Hudson into daycare anyway. But I say all this to say, it's amazing how this one little decision, right? This one little thing I decided to do has blossomed into this huge thing that goes on to, and I think what's really rad is it's not that it's just bringing in income for my family and paying off, debts or whatever, but it's potentially retiring my husband or giving us a freedom to have financial freedom in whatever it is that we're doing in our life. And I think that is something that you don't really think about, because you don't think it's possible until you start meeting people that you learn it's absolutely possible. And it's not like it's possible in, 10 years from now. Like, people are doing this in one solid year, actually less than, really. And of course, it's with anything, it's as hard as, it's as much effort as you can put in, and that's just, you still have to work, it's still a job. It's just that you're your own boss. You decide how much more or less you want to bring in. You decide how hard you want to work. And I just have been really reflective lately, especially as this little baby rounds in on 6 months, how there would probably not be, actually, I know he would not be here if this wasn't already my life, because there would have been no way we would have just brought in another baby and had 4 kids under 6 years old. Like, that's just it's crazy town, let me just tell you. And so I've been so reflective on him and his little life, because I think you all know that he was a little bit of a surprise, and he's the best surprise, right? Like, I can't imagine our life without him. I have absolutely loved watching Avery and Carter, because when they had Hudson come along, or when Avery had Carter come along, they were babies too, right? And now they're like, they're only 4 and 5, but that's like their baby, and they care for him so much. And I love that there's 4 of them, and I love that they're gonna have this, they're gonna just be thick as thieves as they grow up. 3 boys, all exactly, literally almost to the day, 2 years apart, and the ride's gonna be amazing. And I just can't imagine what it would be like, how different our life would have been if this wasn't something that I had decided to say yes to. It wasn't something I had decided to take a chance on, because let me tell you, it's not orthodox. And it's, for me, it was a ton of research. It was like, okay, wait, isn't that a pyramid scheme? Wait, what am I doing? Do I have to have inventory and parties and do all these things? Because I'm not really into that, and I don't really think that's my style. And lo and behold, it's basically me just helping women have freedom in every areas of their life. And for that, there is nothing else that it's just the perfect job for me, and it's full of passion and purpose and everything. So that is my story. I guess just to encourage you that if there's ever something that you're not doing because you're afraid, or you think it's not orthodox, or you think people are going to judge you, don't let that be why you don't do the things, because you will be forever changed by taking a step of faith and knowing that the biggest blessing could be on the other side. So that's all I have for you today. Have a fantastic day, and if you haven't been watching, check out my stories. I think it's only on Instagram. I don't really understand Facebook stories, but I don't think there's videos in them. Anyway, check out my stories. I've been talking about coaching all week, and if you ever feel like maybe this is something you need to do, then maybe you need to reach out, and we need to do it together. So we could be gallivanting off to Punta Cana together next year, or Indianapolis, or San Diego, or Santa Barbara, or Las Vegas, somewhere. Anyway, cheers, friends.